Welcome to the first episode of Made
Woo!
by You podcast. I'm super excited. I'm Deni, and I'll be your host throughout this podcast series. And today I have Raquel with me, and we'll be talking about crafting opportunities. So super exciting topic, and I'm sure this is very relevant for all of you who want to accelerate your career or also want to find out more about the opportunities that Mars has to offer and how does it feel like to take a full advantage of them like Raquel did. And now let me introduce you actually to my special guest today. So Raquel is originally from Portugal. She joined Mars 3 years ago, and she has been part of many international teams in different roles across the globe. Raquel lived in Brussels for one of her positions, then moved to Barcelona, while also regularly flying to London, where her team was based. So she has a lot of both local and also regional level experience. But she decided to remain in sunny Spain as a national key account manager of ice cream. So that I think it's a very sweet job, Raquel. So before we start, I want to run a bit of an icebreaker with you, but I will let the mic to you to say also a few words about yourself if I have missed something.
Of course, no. Thank you very much, Danny, for the big intro and for inviting me for this podcast. I'm really excited to share some of my experience during these 3 years in Mars, and yeah, definitely very excited to be here. And sorry, what was the question?
If I have missed any of your
Yeah.
100 different things about you.
Perfect. So no, I don't think you missed anything, or maybe I mean, I had a long distance while being in Mars during these 3 years, a long distance relationship. So my boyfriend was in London, so that also adds a bit of complexity in traveling and working around. And I think this might resonate to some of the people listening to it. So yeah, I think that's an important detail to add for today's conversation. And apart from that, I think you covered it all.
Perfect. And absolutely, I agree with you. Probably many of us are in the similar situation, but that shouldn't be a blocker for our opportunities. So I'm very much looking forward to hear from you. How did you craft your career so far? So, as I promised before we start, I wanted to ask you a bit of an ice-breaking question. So please tell me, are
Ooh.
you a dog or a cat person?
Dog person, definitely.
Okay. Do you have a dog? Because that seems to be a bit of a trend at Mars. Everyone almost has a pet at home.
So unfortunately, well, fortunately, I have a cat, but I would love to have a dog. But because of traveling, somehow I didn't find the way to have a dog yet. But for sure, it's in my plans for the medium long term plans, I would say. But in the
Absolutely.
meantime, I can play with the dogs in the office, which is awesome.
I can absolutely resonate with you because I have plenty of dogs in my office in Copenhagen, and that's probably one of the best things about the job.
For sure.
Now, something a little bit more that it's focused on your current job, and I just have to ask, but would you rather have a Bounty ice cream or a Snickers white ice cream?
Ooh, Snickers white ice cream, for sure, for sure.
You're not a
That's the
Bounty
best
person?
flavor. No, not really a coconut person. So no.
Well, I can guarantee that they're both amazing because I've been stealing them also from the office, but I have to say that I'm a Bounty person.
Ooh, okay.
Coconut all the way.
Coconut
Absolutely.
all the way.
Okay, and then, of course, considering that you have been traveling so much and moving different cities and countries, my other question would be, do you prefer to work from the office or you prefer to work from home?
Wow, that's a tricky question. I think I'm for I'm part of the new generation in which hybrid it's the solution. If I would have to choose every day from home or every day from the office, I would say office. Actually, I think I
Office?
couldn't live without seeing my colleagues or people around me for the rest of my life. So yeah, I'd say office.
I think this is great to hear for someone who is young, and usually maybe the expected answer would be that we prefer to work online, but actually personal connections are fantastic.
Yeah, for sure.
And speaking of that, I really wanted to dig deeper into a bit more questions about your career. So I guess I have prepared for you a super fun wheel that we can spin, and then we can decide which question we're going first. So let's spin the wheel first and see.
All right.
Okay, so we have our first question for you, Raquel.
Nice.
So can you tell me more about your career journey and experience moving away from home?
Yes, definitely. Well, actually, that's a great question, and I would say my experience moving away from home actually started when I was studying. So maybe I can briefly cover that as well. So I started my bachelor degree in Portugal, and then I was motivated by all of my colleagues to to study abroad, to work abroad. So during my third year of the bachelor program, I went to do my Erasmus in France. Then I loved it so much that I wanted to do my master's abroad. So I did my master's in Leuven in Belgium. And then I did an exchange of my master in Taiwan to
Wow.
really close the chapter, to close my studying chapter. And it was really a crazy experience and great experience, a lot of learnings about myself and about the culture in the world. So definitely very very empowering for me to continue my international experience. So yeah, that was when I was studying, and then a bit of my professional career or journey, right? So I started well, I came home from Taiwan to Portugal right after the COVID. So the COVID was starting, no one knew what was that, and then everything got shut down, right? So I was really looking for a graduate trainee program because, as many other people, I didn't know what I wanted to do exactly. And I knew these programs, they normally offer us a great opportunity to try different areas of a business. I didn't know if I would like supply, marketing, sales. So I was looking for a job like this. In the meantime, I got a job in Tesla in sales in Portugal. But as soon as I got accepted in this Mars leadership program for a 3 year international career, I signed up for that. And I started in September 2020. And from there, I started in marketing in Barcelona. Then, as you mentioned, I moved to Brussels to be in the strategic revenue management team. And finally, on my third year, I moved to Barcelona for a regional role in which I was working in e-commerce and basically accelerating our e-commerce channel across most of our European markets. So that was really fun. That was my career so far. And actually, last week I just started my new role, which is in sales, a team I would really like to be in, and finally I am as a national camp for ice cream.
Wow, what a rich experience. And really, you've been traveling so much, seeing so many different cultures, really taking the most of every opportunity, I would say. But you said that you've joined Mars when it was a COVID time. And obviously, that was a very difficult time, and none of us knew what to expect or what kind of opportunities there are in front of us. So, did you ever imagine that you have actually a job that allows you to work from one country while meeting your team in another, overseeing European markets, traveling to London and back, and at the end, actually even being in a completely different country after all this time?
Yeah. The question is definitely no. I didn't think that was possible, 100%. But then, obviously, when COVID came and we had, well, I did my first year fully remotely. So, starting the corporate world behind the computer with no colleagues around me, with no one around me, right? And starting the career for the first time in this situation really teaches you how to face this new world. Like, really teaches you to do an onboarding online, to connect with people online, to actually have meaningful connections and friendship with other people across the screen. So, in that way, having that experience, I think it became easier for me to imagine a career like this, a career in which you can balance having strong relationships virtually, but also connecting somehow in the office with people. So after that experience, it made me more, well, it made it easier for me to imagine a career like that. Yeah, but I think probably without COVID, I would have never thought about it. Yeah.
I can imagine that. And you said something very interesting. You said that while switching different cities, you've connected better with your colleagues. You've met different people from Mars and outside of Mars, and that shaped your future even in a better way. So I got a bit curious to hear how did you adapt to all these different cities, from the south to a bit more central, to then traveling to the UK and back. What helped
Yeah.
you? How did you adapt to that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's not always easy, and I think all the different countries they have different challenges and things to adapt to. But I would say, if I had to say, I'll say three things actually. So, one is starting with my colleagues. So I think, like, regardless the location I was in, Mars has a very friendly culture. And you can see Mars, I don't know what Mars does in their interviews, but they only hire genuine great people. So in any office you go, as regardless the city, it can be very different. But if you enter in a Mars office, you see the vibe, you can feel the friendly vibe and the culture of Mars in the office. So that for me really helps me to adapt, because I can already identify safe zone for me in that new country, and new experiences, new ways of transportation, new, I don't know, currency, whatever. But the Mars is there, and that really give us a sense of feeling at home. So first of all, colleagues, they will always teach you, where to buy your transport tickets, how to find a house, what is the best
Yeah.
neighborhood to live in. So I would say colleagues at Mars, it's the first thing that helped me to adapt. Secondly, find a hobby. So, really, if you are into dancing or CrossFit or paddle or anything that can also provide you great fun outside of work, I think for me can be a great benefit to adapt to the country, because you can work, but you can also associate the new country to something fun. And of course it can give you a community, right? Because
Yeah.
being in some sports can give you a community, people that like to do some things as you. And for sure having friends also outside work really help you to navigate in the new city. And then, if I would say the third one, I would say find a way to be connected to your home, because it can be quite overwhelming to be away, and I don't know when I'm going to be back. And if you establish, I don't know, a certain frequent time to go home, okay, I'm sure I'm going to be home every 2 months, I'm going to visit my family, or every day I have a call with my family, or every week, every month. I don't know, some type of frequency that still assures you that your family and the people you love are there, still supporting you, and reassuring you that you can still be away enjoying your life and you still have your family there. So you are not choosing one out of the other. So I think for me that was really it. So colleagues, a hobby, and a community outside work, and stay connected to my home.
Wow. So listening to you, Raquel, I can really tell that you have managed to find your way to really deal in these situations, being away from home, building your career, traveling so much, also working with different teams and teams that are also not based in the same place. And I was wondering, what would you say it's unique about Mars in providing this experience? You've mentioned a few times that your colleagues have been a very good support system for you throughout these
Yeah.
years. But is there any other ways that Mars really helped you to build this career so far?
Yeah. So I cannot emphasize more again the culture and the friends you make in the office, of course. So that's a big one, because not only the people you meet in the office, but also in our program. And you find a community. In this case, we are colleagues since day one, and we support each other, because you can find other people that you can relate to, and they are having similar experiences, and you can connect with them easily. So I think in Mars you can find a great network that can support you in your traveling. But then something very specific to Mars that's well, not very specific, but that I see other companies not doing it yet, is to really testing the future, the new future of working, right? So I really see Mars testing, okay, we want the best for our associates, so let's try it. If they like to stay at home for a couple of days and come to the office for the rest of the week, why don't we do a balance? Why don't we get hybrid? And this really helped me a lot. And I think if I couldn't have this flexibility, I wouldn't probably be able to do this, to have this career, because of course I want to go home, and I don't want to go home for only the weekend. If I'm going to Portugal, I want to have the chance to be there for 1 week, and work remotely 3 or 4 days from home. And that's perfectly fine, because my line managers, they trust on me, they trust on my job, and they know that I can work perfectly fine from the office, or from my house in Barcelona, or from my house in Lisbon, and that my job and my quality of my deliverables will be the same. So for me, that's really empowering, the trust that our managers have on us, and also the flexibility that Mars give us, versus just uh, reading, going by the book, and no, you cannot work from home because this is the rules. So I really
Yeah.
like the freedom that Mars give us. That's crucial for me.
Wow, this is so essential. And listening to you, I remember you've mentioned also at the start that you also have managed to have a long distance relationship, and probably your friends are, some of them are in Portugal, or maybe in all the countries that you've been living in. So this point is very essential, that you said
Yeah,
that Mars allows this, and in fact even supports for you to also travel around, take days that you can work from home, and manage your career while also balancing your personal life.
totally.
Hello and welcome to the Made by You podcast, brought to you by Mars. In this series, we'll talk about all the things related to Mars early careers, from advice and top tips to milestones and some surprising stories. So, if you're looking to grasp your future with both hands and make products that the world loves, search for a role at careers.mars.com. Let's spin the wheel again and let's see what kind of questions we'll get this time for you, Raquel.
Yes.
Okay, so the next question for you, it's actually a super interesting question that I guess all of our listeners are already quite eager to hear. But after all of these traveling and adventures for you, Raquel, what is next at Mars for you?
Yeah, very good question. So for me, at the moment, I'm really looking forward to just enjoy Barcelona for a while. I love traveling. I love meeting new people, but I also found that I really love to stay in one place, and having more quality time in the same place, rather than jumping all around and having and living kind of 2 or 3 different lives. Because last year I was building a life, in Spain, in London, in Portugal, and trying to keep up with everything. So now I'm really looking forward to just create my life around Barcelona, my community, my colleagues, my customers, managing now a business in Spain. So really looking forward for me to develop my sales journey in Mars, in one country. But you never know. In our generation, maybe in 1 year, I'll be saying that no, I want to move abroad and go to the US or Australia. I don't know. What I just know is that it's possible within Mars, and that's such a great opportunity that you can always stretch yourself. Once you are in Mars, you have very great people that are able to leverage you. If you just approach them and you tell them what you want to do, they will just help you. So I think by now the next for me is just enjoying the new sales experience, getting into the sales world, getting more local, but then always looking at medium long term, always looking for probably an international experience.
Wow, even more international experience. I love that. So, I mean, listening to you, Raquel, I think you sound like opportunities and possibilities for you are really limitless. Am I right?
Honestly, I think so. Nowadays, I think the trouble is really to choose what you want, because really with all the information we get and all the technology and all the network, honestly, if you prioritize something, I think it's super possible. For me, what is more difficult and it's more overwhelming, it's choosing, because I would love to have a career, in the US and being super creative and being, leading some amazing branding campaign and traveling around the world. Or I would just love to be in Spain, enjoying the sun in Spain, or in Portugal with my family. And, so there are so many great options that I think for us, for the younger generations, the trouble is really to choose. But honestly, I think once we choose, um, it's really limitless. So we can I just understood the power of network. This can really sound a cliche statement, but you just realize that if you talk with the right persons and you just ask them to do something, and then something that can be very, ambitious, and then if they say no, you ask why not, and then you can work on that to work until you get your goal, or maybe they will say yes, and you just unlock something that you wanted to do and you are already doing. So I think if you put the right, it's just about choosing your battles, right? So
Yeah.
you put your focus there, you prioritize there. If you need to learn a new language, you put your focus on learning the new language. If you need to be better in sales or in any other area, you can just study that and be good and develop on that. So, or if you want to go abroad, you can do everything you want to go to a specific country.
Yeah.
So I think it's all about choosing our battles and connecting with the right people and with people that already did the same, right? Because we are not the
Mhm.
first ones doing this. So for sure, someone had a similar experience in the past. So connecting with them, learning from their own mistakes, already puts us one step ahead to make it easier for whatever we want to happen. So I would say yes, limitless
Wow.
opportunities.
Fantastic. So the sky is really the limit, but we need to choose. We need to be, I guess, more try to be decisive. Or the hard part comes when we have to actually choose what to
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
And would you say this is some of the maybe the advantages and disadvantages of having this international exposure, different career opportunities? As you said, there's so much choice out
yeah,
there. So you have to make
yeah.
sure to know what you want, I imagine.
Exactly, exactly. Totally. And maybe to help those that are, at the moment trying to decide if they want to go for international or stay local for a while. Yeah, I can say some of the advantages or disadvantages I see from my past experience. Well, maybe starting from advantages, right? For sure, this allowed me to stretch my career, because if I couldn't go international, I couldn't just grow as fast as I did, because in Portugal there are not so many roles that you can every 1 year to move and to be promoted and to get to know new people and to be challenged by different people. So for sure this international piece really helped me to stretch my career and just to go where opportunities are, right?
Yeah.
Then secondly, amazing to get so immersed in different cultures, especially in my previous role, in which I was working with North Europe, South Africa, Central Europe. So it's so nice to see how different people work, how different people connect. So in the Nordics, they have a meeting. It's 20 minutes meeting, and if you are there for 21 minutes, you are already, they will say, I'm sorry, I'm leaving. And if you are in the south, they will stay and they will connect with you. So simple things that are so different, and you can learn from all of them. It's such a great experience that I even take to my personal life. Some of the
Yeah.
learnings I take it to my personal life. And then also it helps if you have a team that is prepared and skilled to work remotely, because sometimes when you work remotely you miss the chit chat in the coffee corner, or while you are putting some water in your bottle, you are talking about a hot topic in the business. And
Yeah.
when you are working remotely overseas, you don't have that. But if you have a team that knows how to manage the long distance, that creates small meetings on Friday just to discuss the weekend, just to understand how you are doing personally, this really helps to continue these strong connections. And then if I had to think on these advantages of this international career, I think One of them is the one I was already mentioning, the fact that it can be overwhelming and sometimes you can feel a bit lonely to be traveling all around and to live two different lives or three different lives as I was having. So my boyfriend and my boss were in London, my family in Portugal. I was based in Barcelona because of the program. So you have friends everywhere. You have important events everywhere, and you can't attend all of them. So you
Yeah.
sometimes you can feel that you are stretching yourself to make everyone happy, and at the end they are never that happy because you are always leaving. So you will
Yeah.
realize that when you see a friend, the first question they will do is that, oh, when are you leaving, so we can do, so they are always concerned, when are you arriving, when are you leaving. So they already got used to your short presence with them, and for me that's a bit sad. But and sometimes I see them doing amazing plans and I'm in the other country, or with my boyfriend or with my family. So I think at the end, it's really understanding that you have different moments of your life. You have different battles. So right now, I'm focusing more on career and taking the most of this program. And I know that right now, after these 3 years, I'll focus more on personal life, so being more present, while developing a more local role that allows me to be more present with my family
Yeah.
and boyfriend. So at the end, I think I'm not alone in this feeling. A lot of people can feel the same, and this is normal. This is just something that we have to get used to, because we'll be more and more uh, be more international, I guess, with all this technology that allows it to happen. So yeah, I think it's just a way of balancing all of that and balance expectations with our family and friends as well, and
Yeah.
yeah, and change when we don't feel comfortable anymore with the situation. But all in
That's
all, it's great. And I think, sorry, just to finish that, the advantages, I think they overcome the disadvantages for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like it. Even though, as you very well put it, I think we all can resonate with that, and we can all resonate with saying a lot of goodbyes or crafting our careers somewhere overseas or in different cultures, different countries. But this is one of the things that I guess we all need to consider
Yeah.
when we're starting this journey. But with that being said, what do you think are the skills that someone has to have to really jump
Hmm.
on this international train of
Yeah.
career?
Wow, that's a good question. I think, first of all, resilience, because it will never be easy. You will always find new challenges, some small things that you have to have this positive attitude that, okay, it's a barrier. I see it. I can fix it. Let's go. And if it's
Yeah,
not working, I can still continue working it, and let's go, having your long term goal in mind, right? So I think resilience will be important because it will never be that easy. It's always an experience, but it's also about enjoying it.
of
Uh,
course.
I think, secondly, I would say being humble, because you have to be humble to learn from the new cultures, to learn from new people, and don't be, kind of angry because people are not behaving the way you used to, or because
Yeah,
in your country things are done in a different way. No, you have to kind of really be open, humble to the new ways of working, the new ways of communicating in different countries. And I think that will help you, and that will open you a lot of doors, because once you show vulnerability, once you show you are open to learn from them, you will get so much more out of it versus trying to solve everything by your own and imposing your own way of working and being. So I think that for me really helped me to create a lot of friends, and to learn a lot from the country I was in, be it in Europe, be it in Asia. I think if you are humble, people will have so much pleasure in helping you, and they'll be so happy to help you in your journey. And then I think the third one, I would say kindness. So be kind to
yeah,
yourself, because you can really be sometimes, as I was telling before, you can feel lonely, you can feel frustrated because you cannot be everywhere all the time. And you have to be kind to yourself to really speak to you as giving advices to yourself, like, okay, Raquel, and giving some compliments, like, wow, you are doing this great, or you know
Of
this is
course.
or this is frustrating, but this is life and you have to accept it. And but
Yeah.
still be kind when you are talking to you and when you are making your decisions, because most of the time you'll be past your time by yourself, so you have to have a good relationship with your inner person, right? Now I'm getting
Yeah.
deeper in the conversation, but
It's
all
the
in all,
time
I
for it.
think, yeah, I think that's very true. And you understand this inner person while you are spending time alone and traveling, or at home doing small tasks, and you just suddenly understand yourself better. So yeah, I would say those three things. I think, like, practice kindness, practice resilience, and what was the other one? Humbleness. Yeah, yeah,
Of course. That's super well said, Raquel. And I think I need to learn a bit more of that because I can relate with you of being kind to yourself. I think when we are
yeah,
crafting our opportunities and we imagining our career path, we often forget that we need to also give each other, give ourselves a bit of credit of how far
yeah,
we've got. And
totally.
especially I'm happy we have this time to reflect back on your amazing 3 years and also be quite proud of where we've got, and that
Yeah,
still remind ourselves that there is limitless opportunities, as we said. Remembering all of these three advices you just gave us.
yeah, yeah. And of
Super.
course, there are much more, and I'm not an expert on
Of course,
all the
yeah.
skills to develop. But yeah, these are my three ones. Of course, there are much more. But yeah, I think with those three, you'd be already quite prepared to face the challenges ahead. Yeah,
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing with me.
yeah,
So I want to just finish with if you have one piece of advice to anybody who is listening right now. I know it's hard to say, but what would
yeah,
that be?
yeah. No, I'll just say go for it. Whatever you are thinking, go for it. If you are listening this, you are probably starting your career. Well, or maybe not, but. Just, I think the best thing is that we look back and we don't regret, right, of anything, of not doing anything. So just do it. And this sounds very cliche, but again, I think it's so true. And find a great network, a group of people to support you in whenever you want to do, and
Absolutely.
that would be it, I think.
Fantastic. So let's do it. And yeah, and then let's keep on doing it in that
Yes,
case.
absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Danny. It was really a pleasure to have this conversation, and let's continue with a coffee after this and continue our conversation. It's always so good to talk with you.
I agree. I agree. And thank you so much for being our super special first guest on the first episode of Made by You podcast, Raquel.
No pressure. Thank you, Danny. Thank you.